Okay, hey everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone to another Southeast Lean Network. Today we have Dr. John Cheevers join us, who's a recent SETU Doctorate graduate and a CI manager with Carten Controls. So John, I'll pass the floor over to you for your own intro.
Thank you. Thanks, Lee. All right, so just bear with me. I'm taking a little while to warm up and get going. So I'm not saying I'm nervous. I'm just very, very excited. So if I faint from excitement, you know, the background is there. So I suppose the little talk I'm doing today, it's achieving organizational lean thinking at Carten. So I work with Carten Controls, and I'm bringing you through their background now in a few minutes. But it's all about taking my doctorate studies at SETU and seeing can I take it from paper to practice. So I give you my background. So to go a little bit off script, I suppose I start in the middle with my background. I say I'm experienced in both the academic and the practitioner side of lean. I have been known to call myself academic at times. I have been a people leader and a lean practitioner for over 25 years. I have a master's degree focused on the leadership, which focused on the leadership of knowledge workers. I also have a green belt and a black belt in Lean Six Sigma. And only last year I went back and did my green belt once again, because I don't think you can ever know enough about all the tools that are and all the new tools that come up as well for implementing Lean Six Sigma. So I'm currently heading up the lean and continuous improvement efforts at Carten Controls. My official title is the continuous improvement manager. I have a workforce of 0, which is a very unique and special place to find myself. I do all my work through my CI champions, and I'll talk about them in a few minutes. But as I said, I'm starting in the middle. I should go back a little bit here, not to embarrass Noel, Dr. Noel Hennessy in the room here. But I was working with Lake Region, and there was a guy there called Noel Hennessy. I only kind of knew of him, but every now and again he'd come in. He was doing something called lean or continuous improvements, something I didn't really know about. But I tell you what he was really doing. He was annoying the hell of me, because I was on the packaging line and I needed to get all these units from A to B out onto the trucks. And then we used to, like, not knowing any better, we would package them. They're all in Tyvek holders, and we put them into the totes, and then we bring the totes to the other area and we move all our people over, and we would finish off the packaging and the labeling and all that. And every now and again I'd come in on a Monday, and maybe if I had 10 totes, I'd have 8 totes there. And what Noel was trying to do, I thought he didn't like me. He was trying to really enforce in me that the totes bad, flow good. And I was very thick, and took me a long time to get that. I eventually did get it, and I would say that's actually where I really started my lean journey. And when I left Lake Region, Noel, you gave me 3 or 4 of them for my Christmas decorations, and I still have them to this day. So in college, the research problem. I'm just very much aware I am probably speaking to the converted here, preaching to the converted. The research problem, it came from my own first-hand experiences of lean. I would have viewed, despite what I said there a few seconds ago, lean has been a very positive experience, great for people development, great for employee morale when it was done correctly. But I also seen some other sides. I seen we were lean sometimes and lean, not lean other times. If there was an audit or if the FDA were coming in, we didn't really probably want to show all of us, every part of us. We didn't want to show all the challenges and problems and how we got around it. So we'd become maybe unlean. When I say we, I'm not talking about one particular company. I'm talking about all my experience in companies. We quickly unlean ourselves and hide a little bit of ourselves. So people on the floor, they see that as being inconsistent. And that can also lead to poor employee engagement. I was told when I went to start working at continuous improvement in one of the companies, I asked about 5S or 6S, and they said, "Oh yeah, we used to do it here, but then we got too busy." So that would break your heart coming from a lean and CI point of view, because if anything, that's the thing you do if you are too busy. So I've seen unsustained lean initiatives such as 5S. I've seen employee suggestion schemes start and finish and start again and finish. I've seen wasted resources, such as time, money, effort, and then I've seen people, become people's apathy towards lean growing. So I knew it wasn't like all plain sailing as regards lean. So when I delved deeper into it, I could see that there was a growing realization in the research that successfully implementing organizational lean thinking, or OLT, it's a very, very difficult task. And in fact, only 1 in 10, only 10% or less sometimes of organizations succeed at implementing lean. The reasons I found in the research is that there was an over-reliance on lean tools to deliver lean, with the other lean practice elements such as lean culture, organizational strategic alignment, active communication, and structured learning being neglected by organizations. A lot of organizations felt that lean started and ended with lean tools and processes. So that ultimately, prevented them from, we say, remaining lean. So then a lot of organizations go into lean with the short-term view. There's an over-focus on the immediate goal of waste reduction. And then there's a failure to understand and appreciate the criticality of leadership to lean. And when lean leadership was looked at in the research, it was mainly concerned with traits, and it was the studies were conceptual in nature, and they're often practitioner-led without sufficient empirical investigation. So we're moving kind of away from the paper side. So that was the research gap. And that led me to developing, this is my conceptual framework. So it's a big wheel. So around the outside, and it was like, I think it took up to the last 6 months before I finished my studies to actually realize a few things about having organization lean thinking. I would have started off with thinking that, okay, you definitely have lean leadership. They're very, very important. And I realized, well, it's also their interaction with the lean practice elements. It's that makes you actually lean, that helps you achieve organization lean thinking. But I thought it was a left to right event. I thought if you did this and you did this with this, you got that. And then I've worked in organizations that were lean, and they were no longer lean. And as I said there, even in my present company, we were lean at one stage, or we certainly had attempts to be lean, and we lost it. So I realized that it has to be kept going. It's cyclical. It has to be kept going. And although lean leadership, is definitely the biggest cog in the wheel. And there's little things they should be doing as a lean leader. They need to interact with the lean practice elements, and they do that by their own self-knowledge and by leading by example. They turn the wheel of lean practice, and that keeps the whole thing going and moving. But every now and again, you can't be complacent. You must go back in and check through your GIMBA to leader standard work to see, are we still lean? When we waned in certain areas, do we need to pump more effort into that area? So that's the whole paper. That was my conceptual, and is my conceptual model of how to achieve organization lean thinking. So I'm going to take this away now from paper. And I want to go back though before I move, and just really I defined what organization lean thinking was. So against a lovely backdrop, I think of lean in action. So lots of writing on boards, lots of people engagement, lots of meetings. So I would have defined organization lean thinking as being strongly orientated towards sophisticated problem solving at all organization levels, based on building knowledge through learning, and is the manifestation of a deeper appreciation of lean. And it is this mindset that supports lasting improvements and lean sustainability. So that was the paper side of it. So now I'm in the practice element, and I need to talk a little bit about Fujiken. So I work for Carten Controls. As I said, I'm the continuous improvement manager. So Fujiken are our main, their main company, and we are just part of that group. So they were founded in 1930. As you can see there are 5,800 plus employees. and they have a huge turnover as well annually. So it's a big company. We're one little dot. I think you can see us there in Europe. We're not even called out as Ireland. It's Japan, Europe, Vietnam, Korea, Taiwan, China, and the US. So we deal with them all. We deal with all of our sister plants as well. And Carten itself in Ireland started in 1970. So, and it has been going strong. But I think we've gone from, I think, Noel, you said, what did you say we were making when you were trying to help us?
It was only it was only in two figures, like, you know.
Two figures, yeah. So what's happened, I think, in the last 2 or 3 years, we went from a few million to 8 million to 50 million. And that brings its own challenges as well. So we have the lovely history slides, they're all there. But I will explain really at a very high level what Carten do. So we divide our business into 2 buildings. So we have Fab 1 and Fab 2. So Fab 1, I think that's where you would have, Fab 2 didn't exist at that time, no. And that's where we make the valves. So we've gone from just making valves to actually providing flow solutions. So we make the valves, we say all the valves, we might sell the valves directly, or we might use the valves ourselves and we bring them over to Fab 2. And that's where the flow solution comes in. So we build gas sticks, just different ways to regulate, you know, as you said, Extron, Intel are big customers, anything that's making computer parts layered on through gas. And we provide the solutions to gather all that gas together and control it and regulate it. So we make in Fab 2 gas sticks, gas cabinets, and then we make these huge, big integrated cabinets as well. So that's where we are now. So, okay, so the House of Lean, we've all seen this before. So I've taken out some of the explicit data of what we want to achieve, because we can't do have goals. Our motto is pulling together to create the future. We have aspirations to increase our sales. We want to also introduce, and there's a part in our business that's bio, we call it, and we want to make that part of our business a lot bigger, because what we build, really, we build valves and we build integrated gas cabinets. They're needed for companies when they're opening up for the Intels of the world. But then if there's no new installations, you know, our business can peak and flow. But if you're in the world of bio, we're hoping to get more consistent revenue from that. So we have designs to increase that product share. We want to make our solutions, we want to increase the valves we make as being the main part of the flow solutions we provide. We want on-time delivery, and we want our inventory to be equal to, I think it's 3.5 months worth of sales. And how we're going to do it is through organizational lean thinking, which is really having highly engaged workforce. And how we get there is through lean practice. And I've said there, the lean tools and processes, I won't ever get away from that. They are so important, but there are other pillars, such as culture and principles, and also being strategically aligned. So they're the 3 pillars that are going to help us achieve organizational lean thinking and get our goals. But there are platforms underneath these pillars, such as structured learning, active communication, and the main platform will be the leadership at Carten. So I hope we're not going too fast here. Does anyone have any questions before we move on? No? Okay. All right, so as an initial strategy implementation plan, you'll see I'm going to show you a few things that are done and a few things that are started and a few things that are yet to be started. And, you know, if I come back and I was asked to give the same talk, we say in 2 years' time, maybe the blocks in here will change. And so it is, you know, we do something, we learn something, and we do something different then, or we might change slightly the way we're going at things. But if I talk about leadership, so lean belt training, so for all leadership, and I class a leader as anyone that has more than even one person reporting to them. That's someone that has a follower, that's someone that has been looked up to for guidance, mentoring and coaching. So we have started that in that we would have taken our supervisors through green belts, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So we've started that. That's yellow. So one thing we have done at Carten is we have implemented leader Gemba walks, and I got that in when we implemented our 5S program. So that is green, and I'm very, very happy with that. We have 5 walks that happen tomorrow, so I'm so glad. That's why I said after today, this was the day to get me, because of the first, second, and third day of every month, it's busy in there. So so we have, so also under leadership, I would envisage that we need customized leadership training, and it'll be based on really how we do. I do also believe in insights. I do believe in gathering data about people's behaviors, finding out where a leader is at the particular part, place in their journey. Some people have different behavioral styles, and I think that once you do the analysis there and assess people's behaviors, their driving forces, their level of emotional intelligence, then you can kind of figure out, right, okay, what's going to work here. You can see the gaps, you can build a customized leadership training program. So the two of them kind of go together. Leader standard work has been started as well, and I talk a little bit about that. But the leadership, really what we're trying to do is get these 3 blocks in place. By doing these 5 things on the left, we're hoping to equip our leaders with self-knowledge for them to be able to lead by example, but also to have the knowledge and the, I suppose, the presence on the floor to be able to monitor and sustain any good work. I don't know if you've ever seen the imagery or the little icon that's used for leader standard work. It's someone holding back a boulder. You're pushing a boulder uphill, and the wedge to stop it rolling back and crushing you is leader standard work. So that's a big part of achieving organizational lean thinking. Some of the lean practice enablers around structured learning will be a site training process. And so we kicked this off with one of the supervisors, and he took 2 areas, and we worked with the SQT training, and there was a great kind of a carrot being dangled here, in that there is a level 7 qualification out of this. So it was a way of encouraging people to take on more training, but getting something out of it as well. Training's great, in-house training is brilliant, but it's also nice to give something that's a level, a recognized training as well. I think the lab are going to be doing something like that as well. So we started off there. We say the green belt training, I have 3 started, and I actually set in with them as well, got in the trenches with them. I wanted to experience what the guys would be going through as well, so I could mentor them and be there for them after. So I was really relieved I actually passed the green belt, thank God. Being a black belt, I would have been a no, I would be telling you about it today if I didn't pass it. So we have 3 gone through. We have another 2 that are finished the training, and now they've got to hand in their project and be assessed on that. And then I have 1 other supervisor going through the green belt training. So that's where we are on our site training process. And on top of that as well, I've looked at training, and I'm going to just row in with our HR department and try to get the whole process pulled together. And there's a quick slide on that later on. So white belt training. So I think that white belt training, it's essential for every employee, every single employee. So there's 180 people working with Carten now, and we've 20% of our people gone through white belt training. We did it in-house, we did a few sessions, but then also Sligo are providing that now for free. So we're trying to utilize both, kind of a 2-tier approach to that. So green belt training, I spoke a little bit about that already. So then an active communication. So this is about digitalization, data visualization, and also too, not everyone is connected to the laptop. So it's nice to have a combination of both. So in the areas we like to have our metrics up there, tell people how we're doing. So important to know if you're winning or not at all times, and have somewhere to go as a focal point for that. We also run our tiered meetings around the boards as well. So also then there's a live area performance trackers. So we're trying to currently build, Liam, you'll know all about this. This is your world. We're trying to build a live performance tracker so that every unit we do, be it a gas stick or a gas panel or a valve, that it's recorded in real time and goes up against what our goals are for the day, for the week, and for the month. And then also equates into revenue as well. So we're about 2/3 of the way trying to build that, and we're using fairly basic technology like Microsoft. We haven't outsourced that, so we're using Power Apps as well. So as I said, then the daily tiered communication meetings are happening, and my God, they've been brilliant. We're about a month into those, so I talk about that. I'm getting too ahead of myself. I flick through the rest because I show slides on most of the stuff. So over in Fab 1, we've completed our process mapping and capacity. We didn't really know, to be fair, to be honest. Declan Irish, the boss, will tell you the same. We didn't actually know what we should be doing, where we're winning or losing. So as the first 2 green belts, I kind of sent out the guys. I sent out Sharad to do some, I suppose, standardized process mapping, to build process maps of all our processes so that we can, if there's a project, we can go back and we can pull out that process map and try to determine if there's waste and areas for improvement. So, and then I sent Jason then ahead then to see, based on the process maps, what actually could we be doing currently without improving the processes at all. So that's completed. And we're now doing Fab 2, and that's a bit more complicated. That's not just units, that's building gas sticks, installations. So that's a bit tougher, but we're in the middle of that as well. So then using that information, we're building the value stream map of the entire organization. So that's key to us being successful. And I stole something actually from Water Technologies, and I already owned up to it. They had a thing called C4 problem solving. So I've kind of taken that, and it's just a structured approach to problem solving, where we say, well, what's your concern? Okay. What do you think is causing that? Like, what countermeasures are there? And then if you get that, then like, how do you control the winds? And at every section there, it's pointing people to the different tools that could be used at that stage when we have an opportunity. And then the site KPI generation. So Declan is great. My boss is great. He likes me doing all this. He's promoted all of this. I call this like just really sowing seeds for future growth. But he also wants to see some real tangible results as well, which is fair enough. So we have a site, as I said, KPI generation, and that semi-automated weekly metrics. We started there, and now it's gone to daily. So we have these metrics, and we know our metrics, but we have constant updating of those. And we meet now daily at the tiered meetings, and there's very few questions. It's saying like, well, are we ahead or behind? If we're behind, what other departments can support the production to get ahead again, or what's the plan? And then obviously we have a need to go in maybe a year or two to go into a full lean process immersion, but we're not ready for that, Carten. We're not ready. We're putting the blocks in place to go there. So as regards culture and principles, the very first thing I did when I arrived at Carten is to create a bit of excitement. We bought this big 70-inch smart TV, and we raffled it off, and was just to be in the raffle, all you had to do was just answer a short survey, because I was out on the floor, I was looking around, but I needed to get a really quick catch up. So I asked 8 or 9 really pertinent questions to find out who I was dealing with on site. Who are my customers? Who are the people? What have they been through? What are they looking for? So we learned some great things from that survey. So that gave me a head start, because you really need to know who you're dealing with. You need to know, are they interested in lean, but also you need to know some of the results from the survey were actually I suppose the leadership at the site would have thought we have an awful lot of experienced people. We didn't really. Like 70% of the people were at the company less than 2 years. So we didn't. We could point to these people that have been with us 20, 25 years, 30 years, but they were the exception. So that's a really key thing to know. Also, you need to know when these people were born, what's their generation, because I was talking before to Liam about if they're a certain generation, they're not going to be looking at signs and posters. They're going to be looking at the phone. It's going to need to be digital. If it's not digital, there's no point. Certain generations want training done in a different way, and certain generations expect leadership to behave in a different way. So needed to catch up on all of that stuff. So that was the first thing we did, and we gave away the telly. Went down well. The next thing then was the CI champion role, deliberately not calling these people 5S champions, because like 5S in itself isn't, a lot of people confuse 5S with just housekeeping. I think it's the foundational lean process, not even a tool. It's a lean process where you organize things and put a bit of structure. But I have real hopes and dreams for my CI champions. I have 19 on board now. I expect to be losing them very quick, and that they're going to be grabbed, because once we light a fire in people and they start to see the benefits of lean and lean thinking, they quickly go on to achieve other things, and they'll be just grabbed off me and they become supervisors, leaders, and other strategic places. So the CI champion role was created, and again, what I offer, this is discretional effort. People aren't getting paid extra to do this role, but some people get it. They realize that this is a great opportunity to start my career in lean, or even advance my career. Yes, no. Thanks, because I'm worn out talking.
I love the idea, the CI champions.
Yeah.
I guess my question is there a challenge getting their bosses to free them up for, is there a certain amount of time a week that they're allowed to work and whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, so we set it off as an hour a week, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but like that is sufficient, you know. And what we've done is we created the lads are doing 5S now. I want them to be the facilitators of our problem solving next. I really want, if there's a problem in the area, that the first person we go to, you know, is our CI champion, that they know the tools, they can help us start to find out the challenge and the opportunity there. But right now it's an hour, and that's agreed. But also we say that middle leaders are very okay with that, because what we talk about getting supported by leadership, 20% of the bonus this year has been put on our 5S program. That is unheard of. I've never heard of that before. So our CI champions, to get that, there's 5 things. Well, first of all, they've got to do their audit. They've got to talk to people, engage. Don't do it from the desk or from the app. Do it out on the floor. And I also wanted to disconnect the 5S program from, I heard the bonus, I was shocked, but I said we'll embrace it. I wanted to disconnect, I wanted to take a bit of pressure off the CI champions. So what we said is that, okay, that's fine, we'll base on the 5S program, but only if the directors sign up also to coming out on the floor and let the directors assess how active our 5S program is. So bang, 2 things brought in at once, and that was really, really good. So I've taken the pressure off. So when the directors come out on the floor, they're looking for 5 things, and there's 20% awarded for each of them. The first thing, we have our visualization. So when you go up to the floor and you look at the visualization, does it more or less reflect what is in the area? Because, you know, you have to start somewhere. The next thing, are the weekly audits actually happening? So that goes back to a long-winded way of answering your question. By God, these audits happen, because if they don't happen, everyone gets hit. Every person on site gets hit in their bonus. You lose 20% if they weren't done every week during the month. The next thing then, are people behaving in a safe manner? Are you seeing people behaving in a safe manner? If it's PPE that's required, or, you know, are they wearing the PPE? Are people storing things way too high? There's a possibility. Are there trailing wires and things like that? The other thing then, are the actions being closed? So, you know, so that's another 20% off it. So there's 5 different, and then, so we're continuous improvement as well. Were there actions being raised? Now we're moving away from that, because we did actually run out of actions, and then people were raising actions, asking me what actions to raise. I think, well, maybe you're okay in your area. So what happens now, and it's trying to pull the leaders in as well. The leaders must go out and they must engage with the CI champion and the people. They must convince themselves, is 5S actually alive and well? Is it active? And that's by asking people. We've removed the stipulation for first we were saying 2 actions per audit, and then it was 1. And we had 200 actions all of a sudden, and we have to be very careful there because we want to keep the whole thing going. So now we say, look, if that was only done, I didn't want it to be a paper exercise. We want the directors to come out on the floor and determine for themselves whether it feels like this is an active thing. So that's how I get my time back. I know we need a bit of credibility to build up about this. I'll be looking for more time as we move into my next kind of plan for the CI champions. But at that stage, the CI champions will be their own best ambassadors. They'll have seen the benefit and value they're bringing to the company.
You're 30 minutes in, John.
30?
30 in.
Oh my God. Okay. The 5S program, I've rolled it out. I've said that. It's a suggestion scheme. I'm scared of this one. Very, very scared of this one. Because I've seen suggestion schemes go wrong. I've seen suggestion schemes and big push. We need suggestions, and not thinking what we're going to do with the suggestions to the side. And that can be crazy. People say, "Oh, I'm sure I enter a suggestion there, nothing back." So we have to be careful on this one. Maybe next year we are using the 5S program as a way to get suggestions in, but we have to be careful there.
Buy more tellies.
Buy more tellies. That might work. Reward and recognition process. I'm not scared of this one. This is going to be good. I've seen this work really, really well. And I'd be looking at a peer-to-peer recognition as well. That we're not waiting on someone else, a leader. You can recognize your colleague with certain stipulations. And then the annual CI Cup event. I want to make this a big celebration every year, where local pride comes in. You say, well, we're much leaner, or we're far better at CI than that crowd over there, and have a little cup going and a bit of crack, like an expo. So that's on the cards as well. As regards to strategic and organizational alignment, so when I came in on the floor, first my boss asked me to have a quick look at our ERP software. And the initial thought was that, well, it's not really that compatible. There seems to be some difficulty, but that is the key. Our ERP is our key strategic alignment tool, and I spent the majority of my time in that area, and I'll quickly tell you about that at the end. So the CI element and focus and performance management process, as I said, I told you about that 20%. It's great. It's definitely focused us here at Carten. So the Carten structured tiered meeting process in full swing, and I absolutely love the first tier of that. And that's at the 8 o'clock meeting, the very first tier. Now it's great. I get my steps up. I'd say do more walking in the first hour. I'm still there, and I want to make sure it's embedded, and then I'll step away from it. It's the first tier for the people who are working on the floor, actually adding the value. At 8 o'clock, we pull them all together. We ask 3 or 4 questions, and we find out actually what's really going on. We tell them they've done a great job yesterday, and because it would break my heart to think if people came into work and went home and didn't even know they were doing a good job. So that's so important. And the things I learn from those tiered meetings are really, really good. So that happens in Fab 2. In Fab 1, as you said, Noel, it's a different beast there. We were more traditional in that there's a welding area and different pockets. So there's 4 very quick tier 1 meetings have to happen. So that's all my steps there. And then there's a tier 2. Tier 2 then is the supervisors, the manager, and the core people like your quality person, your engineer. They meet, and we're all production focused. It's all about we're behind our, what can we do? So that's our tier 2, and then our tier 3 then is all the managers. They'd be separate up to that point, and then they come together as one then, and all the managers get together for the tier 3 meeting. So PM strategy. So I would have done my PMP qualification, and there's some really good stuff in that. It's where you actually consider your stakeholders, and then you consider, you really have to think, if you're bringing in a change, actually, who are your stakeholders? And I'd always try to get it back that stakeholders aren't always obvious. The stakeholders, anyone who feels, even believes, even wrongly, that they're going to be affected by the change, because you mightn't even be aware of their presence, but they could be blocking something. And I'm trying to bring that, and I want to bring that into the way we handle change. And then that would, some nice things like communication plans as a result. So then, so the periodic assessment and review of site processes, another key thing. And as I said, we have to put the lean in there first before we can assess it. And then an external award recognition roadmap, maybe someplace, something like Shingo, would definitely be looking into that. I know I've only a few minutes left. However,
50.
at 15, okay, because I think I've really got ahead of myself. So the next slides are just kind of examples, just giving you a kind of proof that I'm not just telling lies up here. These are some of the kind of slides that, you know, that would go ahead. So we got 101, we got 54%, even with the Smart Kelly, that's all we got. But overall, I think people understand that was quite a good take up from our employees. So, you know, we got some great information back there. Next then is my 5S program, or our 5S program, and that's the first tranche of our CI champions, thinking there was such thing as a free lunch, and you know, they learned after that. But no, I shouldn't say that. They've been more than willing and able to get on board. What we did do though is that we brought in, we got some help from LBS. We brought in a power app to manage both our 5S program and our Leader Gimba Walk. As I said, if it's not digital, it doesn't really happen. But what I did then is I tried to squeeze every last penny out of LBS. I got them to train a core group of people as well how to build their own power apps. So that was limited success. We'll see where that goes now. But that's kind of where we are digitally. So some of the 5S wins, this is in the HR room, stuff trailing cables, stuff stored too high. You know, you can do all this thing, but you can do all these things. But what I learned very quickly, you need to take a picture. You need to take a picture every single time, because if it's not documented, you know, did it really happen? You know, that's what we do. So they're before and afters. These are all real pictures, which is great. That's our R&D lab. Was just a disgrace up there, and we got involved deep. Dara now did a great sort and set in order, and we're still, you know, we can still turn it back. We haven't got it all right. The sustain side can be a challenge as well on that, but you know, we go at it weekly, and we try and instill a mindset more so. So these are some boards. I'm a big believer of boards. I know we have to go digital, but I think before you can come up with a digital solution, you must get the, you know, what it feels like. So on the left, you can see I've taken C4 and called it 4C. I've taken a explosive grenade negative connotation to saying something that, you know, if we sort out our problems, we might foresee future problems. So that's just a board in there, and you can see the board points people to the right tools to use. We use a lot of Make, we use Tim Wood, 5 Whys, the Leader Standard Work. Again, this is just a blank board, and it can be a weekly thing, a monthly thing. I particularly use it for as facilitating the 5S program. So in week 1, I have 2 tasks to do. I might go to 2 areas and I engage with the CI champion and ask them what challenges they're having. What actions do they need assistance with? What's not really, you know, what's working really well, and just to talk, just to be there. I force myself. It's red at the start of these weeks, and as I do them, I turn them over green. It's very, very visual. We do it for our Leader Gimba walks, but it can be used. These are the cards we can make up ourselves, laminate them as well. It can be, you know, God, if I did 6 things every day as a leader, there's a very good chance I'll have a successful day, or the company will have a successful day. So you can pick and choose. They're just really holders, and we can change their use. Very simple. It's just a very kind of start to Leader Standard Work. The other thing then is the communication. But the great thing, I've already kind of told you about this. These are tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and then tier 4, either weekly or as necessary, can be escalated daily. It's a 2-way communication on production. It's probably the thing I'm most proud of on site. I just had so much information from those talks in the morning. Another thing then is the boards, yes, but this is real now. So we have our area metric boards, where we're bringing our automated performance tracking. We have them digitalized and on screen, and then we have see again, those squares underneath there, they can change, evolve over time. Right now we have our set tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 questions on it, an area training matrix, because that's another key thing, and then some actions. Just write them down. Once they're done, we cross them off. So the whole thing is the 1, 5, 10 rule, that like in 1 second you can see if you're winning or you're not winning. In 3 seconds you can see where you're not winning, and you see that through the graphs. And then in 10 seconds you can see what you're actually doing about it. And the thing is, whereas the loop, there's a loop presentation happening, the actions are still there, and then people believe and can see that something's happening about the challenges that we're having. The next one then is structured learning process. So I was more than willing to get involved here. I've seen great training processes in companies I've worked with, where there's a needs analysis, training needs analysis. There's specific training curriculums according to your role in the company. There's a training plan to deliver it, and how we're going to deliver it is set out. There's training document controls, and then there's metrics to go with that. So on the left, that's the red squares of what we're working on now, and then there's a Visio of a future state training process. So I'm not running this, I'm just helping out in this, but it's very, very important. Then this is just an example of some of our process mapping for the initial green belt, where we did current state process mapping, some spaghetti diagrams, next steps and future states. That's over in Fab 1, surface finish in one of the start. And then this is more recent. This is in our Fab 2, where some of our weldments, some of our tubing that is welded together to go into our integrated cabinets. So there's a lot of things happening there as well. This one then, I would spend more or less all of my time, in the ERP alignment. We quickly learned is that we brought a software solution in where there wasn't really a process set up. We brought Epicor in, and people were blaming Epicor. It was nothing to do with Epicor. Epicor is still known as one of the best solutions for ERP for companies our size. But the problem is we didn't actually have an ERP process itself defined and set up, and we layered this software down on top of it, and then we wondered why it started to go in the sand. So when I arrived in at that, there was a lot of infighting, a lot of people that painted themselves into the corner. There were a lot of people pointing and blaming each other. And we had to go back from that, take a few steps back, and realize that we had to kind of first of all do a future state of what our ERP system should be, and then find out how we need to interact with our software to get there. That's okay. And that was phase 1. We got all the training done, and loads of but you see, look, I use every single session. I'd be trying to teach people a new tool, and it's so good though when I'd be at meetings now and I'd see someone just standing up, we need to 5Y this, or we do a fishbone on this, and just you'd be proud, that you kind of it's become kind of unconscious now. They go to the tools for things, which is brilliant. Phase 2 now is about, we've got our training. There's some key areas that we need to enhance, optimize our processes around our sales department, our planning department, and our shipping. Why we would have done our process mapping and our capacity green belts was to be able to build this amazing thing, which is one of the best lean tools ever, the value stream map. So we need to build this. We need to find out what's going on, where the whip is building up, level load, resource smoothing, everything. So eventually this will drive all the improvements, but there have been huge improvements, having said that. So this is some of our data visualization. So this is live data taken that loops on a screen. We can see how many valves. We have a target of 300. We can see how we're doing, as I said, for the day, for the week. It's all there. And we can see then also on the other side how many weldments, how many gas sticks, how many cabinets we've built. And then there's a tie into our revenue as well, because we've got to keep the doors open. But what I've seen, I suppose, at first hand, the difference even in 4 weeks walking around, the shelves are bare in the valves. They're absolutely bare. Now, you might believe this, we're that, but we went from that amount to 300 a day. They can't get the valves quick enough. They are now pulling the valves towards them. And everyone's time is accounted for. 80% is though we load people at. it's not that, it's a sweatshop in there by any means, but people are very mindful of the time and what they commit to now, and the valves, they can't get them in fast enough to get them out fast enough. Some huge improvements, and I love, eventually maybe this become a little bit of a gimba. I'd be delighted to bring anyone down, if anyone wants to get in contact with me after, to show them like the improvements we've made. We've a brand new clean room down there just about to be opened, and the whole building, the whole site is just amazing now. It's one of the most modern sites I've ever seen, with audio visual rooms and everything like that. So it's amazing. And we've come a long way in a short time. So and we're only going further. So that's it. Now I've allowed precisely 2 minutes for questions. I'm not going to get caught here.
We can run slightly over. I always open questions to those on the call first, because we have more options in room. So if anyone on the call wants to jump in with a question, please just unmute yourself and ask it, or type it into the chat and I can relay it to John in the room.
Just very quickly, Lee, there, and look, thanks for that, John. It's a great presentation. Just very quickly, how long did you think it took before the general crew really got the culture to where you felt it was embedded into the culture of the organization? You referred to there, guys are starting to say, yes, let's do a 5S on this, or let's do a fishbone or whatever. How long do you think that process takes?
I would say it's not embedded 100%. I would say we're nowhere near embedment.
Yeah.
We take sometimes 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. I'm not going to go into examples, but they're examples that we all have. I would think, like everything, like there's an agenda behind everything I do. When I was asking people, in the survey, I was kind of telling them something, and then I was asking them something, and that was a great start. It was a great kickstart, and there was a nice prize, and the odds are very good at 101 to 1. So I wouldn't say it's embedded. I would be very happy with how far we've come, but I would think maybe 2 to 3 years time. From the very start, and we're 1 year and 4 months into it now. I would say it takes 3 years to embed it, and I don't even like the word embedment, because that kind of it kind of conjures up the idea that it's in there for good. I could see it disappearing very, very quick. A new leadership come in, different agendas, and it'll all. I think Noel. I'm going to steal one of Noel's brilliant analogies about the bucket. Employee engagement. So you fill the bucket of employee engagement up drop by drop by drop over weeks and months and years, 1 kick and it's empty. So I think the first time that the people see our leaders not leading by example, not showing the right example, it's like a kick to the bucket, and the second time they see it, there isn't any bucket left. So not to be too dark there now.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. Yeah, I think I would feel the same myself. It is a years long process, but I think you get functionality fairly quickly, and just kind of.
You do.
Yeah, just keep that functionality broadened out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, excellent. No, thank you.
We have 2 quick fire questions on the chat. Subash has asked, do you plan to introduce ocean planning for strategic organizational alignment? Yeah,
so it's already there. I just didn't show you that. I didn't show you that slide. So that is there. It's in the background. I would say that we've received some training on it. It hasn't been implemented, but it's definitely plans. Yeah, there is plans for that. And ocean, I would just think is strategic alignment.
Yeah. So. And a quick one from Eric. Do you train the white and yellow belts yourself, or are you outsourcing this training?
So I outsourced the white belt training at that level, and the yellow belt training blended, and the green belt training, no, I don't do that, but I'm there. I meet with my green belt students every week, and we discuss. I'm more in a mentor role there. I just think I wouldn't do that to people to have me for like an hour is hard enough, but imagine a whole day of Cheevers. Like,
Perfect. We might take one question from the room, and what I'll do, I'll close the call then, and we can have questions after. Is there any question from the folks in the room?
I mean, great presentation, John. But there's so much stuff going on that in the south. What's the biggest challenge today? Or is there anything that you do differently? Is there anything you felt? How long are you? I'm not sure you said how long is this going on?
a year and 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So is there anything I do differently? I think it's too early to tell, because I can't really say that I've seen some long-lasting results. We're still on a journey. It's a great time to give a talk when you can't really, when you don't have to show all the results. No, I don't know. I'm kind of finding my way, but like I do have that wheel. That wheel is, you know, if I can see that it's part of that, that's what all the research and the studies have led me to believe. If I can see there's a part in it, like when I was asked to, I know nothing about Epicor and ERP. I knew nothing, but I knew it's so important for strategic alignment, how we all connect up together. I'm learning all the time, so I don't know. I haven't learned enough to know what I would do differently yet. No. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for the talk. Really interesting. Just wondering how difficult it is to keep that momentum going with the people on the ground.
It's hard. You'd be worn out. I'm not messing, because if you're not passionate and engaged and enthused, and it's hard to do it. Yesterday morning, say 8 o'clock at the first tier one, the lads' hearts were broken. It was raining, and I just acknowledged that's, I know, crap outside. Look, I won't hold you. I won't keep you out of your misery. Is there anything you want to talk about? But consistency. You have to just keep at it. And you know, sometimes you're faking it till you're making it. But we've got to lead by example. And then the belief comes in, the mindset changes. You get a few wins, and that spurs on other people to find other wins. It's very organic, and if now and again you get a great win and someone says something brilliant about where we've come from, and that really helps as well.
But I think, Sean, just to build on that too, though, you realise that, Jesus, you're the CI manager. If you're not going in there every day excited about the possibilities that this can bring to the site and to the people there.
I can't do it as good as you do it, no.
But how can you expect anybody on the factory floor?
Has to transfer.
Yeah, you know, so no, it does require, and you do it, John, know you.
And like the thing too as well is like, you know, the results need to be there, you know, the bottom line results. But like the people development side of it, if it wasn't for lean and you know, taking that path, you know, nothing would have happened in my career. And I can just see that it's a great conduit for other people to, if they want, to grasp that and move on to the next level. And you know, sometimes the days are gone too fast. Isn't that a great thing, to be at work and you haven't enough time in the day to do what you want to do? So I have the easiest job in the world. I hope Declan isn't listening now. It's going to ruin my next talk with them. But no, I'm just saying is that, like, imagine, like, my goal is to try and develop people and try to make people's work environments a better place to work in. Fantastic. Like, that's not a job. That's just really excellent.
Perfect. So I think that's a wonderful note to end it on. So I want to thank everyone for attending in person and online and on the recording. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we will be publishing May's meetup probably in the next couple of days. So keep an eye on the meetup page. And thanks to everyone.
Thanks, Lee. Super presentation. Chat soon.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye, Lisa.